everyone, welcome to another Over a Beer movie review. My name is Rich.
I'm Nick.
And we just saw Star Trek Beyond.
We did.
Now, of the two of us, I would say you're the bigger Star Trek fan. I've casually enjoyed the series. I've liked the new movies, or I've seen the new movies. I really liked one of them. I didn't like the second one as much. And I've seen bits and pieces of the original series Next Generation, but I've never been like super into it.
Right. So with that said, then definitely. I think I talked about it. You know, we spent the last year plus of this show talking about Star Wars the entire time. But I am a huge Trek fan as well. I think I talked about when we did our Why We Love Star Wars episode back when episode 7 came out, that for the majority of my youth, I was very much more of a Star Trek fan because I grew up watching Next Generation and loving the original movies, and then finding the series and watching Voyager, Deep Space Nine, etc. I love all of the movies. Well, I mean, some of them suck.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think I've talked about before, but like before the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, me and a buddy of mine, we marathoned all 10 movies at that point in a row. Took like 20 hours, and then before Into Darkness, we did it again with the addition of that one, so 11 movies. Love the series. Totally love it. I thought the JJ's reboot was fantastic. Genius concept with altering the timeline, staying true to what was before, creating something new. Incredibly smart idea. So well casted. And then Into Darkness definitely has problems. I think that I like it a little bit more than you, but you have to acknowledge, like today in preparation for knowing we were going to be talking about potentially that, I was trying to remember back to what I could say was positive about it, and I was like, what is positive about that movie? Like, I had to really think about it. So that's kind of where we stand, and we've seen this new one, so we're going to do what we always do, I think. We're going to talk a bit about it, and then we'll move into spoilers. We'll make it very clear once we move into spoilers. But why don't we let the people know if they should see this movie? So, what are your thoughts?
I liked it. I think it's a lot of fun. I like it more than Into Darkness, but I don't think I like it quite as much as the 2009 reboot, however you want to call it, since it was kind of a reboot, kind of not. It feels it's a very simple story. Like, it feels like a 2-hour episode, as opposed to like this big, epic, sprawling space journey. It's just a very simple, self-contained thing.
I totally agree. It's a thought that I had once you really realize, and we won't spoil, but when you realize what the plot of the villain's motive is, I started thinking about how it was small. And I was like, like that's a bold move to do in a movie of this caliber. And I really kind of appreciated it in that way, because it is like an extended episode of the television series. And, you know, the first two movies very much were planets at stake, that. The second one got way lost in its ambitious trying to be this huge deal. And quite frankly, the thing about Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek was never those grandiose things. It very much is seeking out things.
These very simple, self-contained little these stories of these travelers.
Having things to say, social commentary that played in the day, but in a future setting, and this definitely has that. The whole message of it, without spoiling anything, is, you know, that we need to put violence aside, and that we do need to change as not just as a country, but as a world. That is very much the message of it, and it couldn't be more timely, right? And so it did feel very much like classic Trek in that way, which is something that Simon Pegg had said he was going to try. He plays Scotty, but he wrote this movie, had said that he was trying to get back to. And then that first trailer had come out, and everyone was like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. That doesn't even look like Star Trek anymore. It doesn't even look like the Star Trek that a lot of people said became like Star Wars with the J.J. Abrams stuff. It was like, that's Fast and Furious man making a Fast and Furious movie. And it was like, do we believe Simon Pegg? What is this movie going to be?
And he's always kind of been like a big I don't know, spoke a big icon of like nerd culture and
Oh
sci-fi.
yeah, for sure.
And,
It's like, is he really gonna let us down? Is he gonna
Yeah.
run Star Trek? Can that happen? So like you know, we literally just walked out of the theater. I've watched the J.J. Abrams first Star Trek movie countless times. I can't really say at all if I think this is better than that. It's too early. I gotta
Sure.
see it a few times. It's definitely better than
Like,
Into Darkness. It's a tighter story.
first impression, remembering. For at first impression, I have the reboot ahead of this one.
Oh yeah,
but-
for sure.
Like you said, over time I may revisit it. I may.
As much as I love the first movie, what I love so much about it is getting to know these new actors in those roles.
Yep.
Seeing the genius thing every single time that they do with the timeline, the shock every time of Vulcan being destroyed. But when you watch it multiple times, you do start to see the third act issues in that first one, that Nero is kind of a weak villain, kind of a one-note villain. And I think that is where over time you might say, you know, maybe there was slightly more interesting things happening overall in this one.
Yeah,
From a story standpoint.
I'd be curious to watch it again, knowing what I know now.
Any so
There was one other thing I was gonna.
I really wanted to point out, and maybe this is what you wanted to point out. I thought that the new character Jayla, the female alien, if you've seen the trailer, she's got like the white face, black marks. I thought she was really cool.
Yeah,
really badass.
She fits in well. That was the other thing is that all the main characters get moments in this. Get really good moments. You get a lot of pieces and stuff with them, as opposed to Into Darkness. From what I remember, was mostly just Kirk and Spock. And even the first one feels a little bit like it's their story.
The first one is very also Kirk and Spock.
And this one, while you have that through line, you get more of everybody, and everyone really feels like they play a part in this story.
Yeah, they do a good thing of making sure that does happen. I think if anything, there is less Spock than in the other two movies, but not to the detriment of the story. He has an interesting through line. He has a lot of stuff on his mind that does kind of parallel what's going on with Kirk, and they do some very nice things to honor that it is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek this year as well.
Yeah.
I do want to say that there are a few things at first glance of this movie that did not seem great to me.
Okay.
Without spoiling anything, the movie, especially at the very, very, very first start, has some pretty atrocious CGI. That was really the one moment of it, honestly.
That, and then
I was very worried.
I don't want to.
Really
again, I'm
worried
trying
that
to avoid spoilers, but you see it in the trailer where Kirk is on the motorcycle. The first shot of that motorcycle in action. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they're going, like, looks really bad.
Yeah, no, it was like, that's not happening on the terrain that
yeah.
is. So there's a couple moments like that, and Into Darkness didn't perform, I think, how they wanted it to. So I would imagine the budget was slightly scaled back for this one. Expectations were down for this one for Paramount. I think they made the most of what they had, but to open it the way they did, it was just like I never like it when a filmmaker will kind of settle for things.
Yeah.
But sometimes you settle in the little ways, but that was a huge way. Like, you open with really crummy looking aliens, like real bad, and I was like, my God, like, what are we, like, is this movie gonna suck? And then it doesn't.
Sure. I think you can cut that entire intro, that part out. I think you could lose that. And it does
set up the device.
It sets up the device, but
it's kind of the MacGuffin of the entire story.
Do you want to jump into the spoilers? Do you have any other general things you want to say?
The only other thing that I was going to say is, for the most part, I thought the action was on point, but every once in a while, it was slightly incoherent what was going on.
That was an issue of mine, too.
Which was a surprise coming from somebody who came from such an action-driven franchise. Justin Lin, director of most of the Fast and Furious.
Or there were shots of, like, him trying to move the camera in interesting kind of sweeping ways and like spinning it and doing stuff like that kind of takes you out, and you aren't sure where the characters
really well.
Some of it
was
works, and some of it's like, wait a sec, because it would cut from like a side, the camera on its side, to straight forward, and you're like, well, wait a second, what's going on? Like, what am I looking at right now?
But just before we move into spoilers, I love the cast. I'm gonna miss that part of that cast won't be there.
Yeah,
moving forward.
that was definitely a thing for me. Like every time Anton Yelchin was on screen, it was like, this is really sad.
It was really sad. You really feel that they seem like they're actually a close cast in real life, and it plays through, and I love so much Bones is just so good. Like Carl Urban is so good.
The first time Carl Urban is in this, I had some issues. It seemed like he was overdoing like
this one.
Yes,
okay.
At the very beginning, like he seemed like it was a little more caricature than normal, like with like his southern whatever and like his. Right. I was just kind of like, But then like as it goes on, like he gets better. So I'm not sure if it was just him doing more of like a dramatic scene. It was a little off for me, but
yeah,
that's getting a little nitpicky. But
yeah, I don't know. I loved him. They do some. Sulu gets his moment. Everybody gets their moment.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move into spoilers and talk a little bit about the story beats and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
spoilers
from here on out, spoilers, very clear. Spoilers.
All right. So. What did you think of the motivations of the Idris Elba villain that I can't even remember his name right now?
Kroll.
Okay.
Kroll. Something like that.
Kroll.
This is the reason I want to go back and see it again.
Okay.
Because the entire time I'm like, there's a bigger plot, but it just sort of leaves it as a mystery, which I don't mind, but I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for this villain to have some development. Is this going to be another Eric Bana villain from the first one where he's just sort of, I just want to destroy things and whatever. But once you get to that point and you see it, I thought that works. I think it
really
works.
Effective. I definitely like the idea of that. I was wondering because potential spoilers for this movie in advance with them revealing
the spoiler section.
No. I'm saying that there were potential movies for this.
Yes.
With the whole them coming out saying the fourth movie will include the Chris Hemsworth, Kirk's dad, where I thought, is this ship that they're in? Is this going to be? Are they the survivors of the Kelvin? And like is somehow
that's what I wondered too. It's like
it was very clear to me that they were somehow the survivors of a Federation crew. Like it kind of always is like there, and some of it harkens back to some of the other Star Trek movies. Like the whole motivation of them, in a lot of ways, is really what's going on in Star Trek Insurrection, which was the third Next Generation movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's not very good. Don't bother unless you're like a real hard fan. So like I was kind of like, but the way that they pieced it together and the motivation that he had, I thought it was really smart. Having that soldier background, being forced into a neutral, unmilitary thing like that, and then feeling like you were left and abandoned by those people.
It reminds me of like people who started in the military from a young age and come home and try to adapt to a normal life, and then feel a bit, you see homeless vets and stuff like that who are abandoned by the country that they fought for.
Yeah, it definitely totally plays off of that. That's a great point. I think that it gets a little bit sloppy at the end. I think that everything in the starships is fantastic, but when he lands, he would really have. I mean, they say that he's from 100 years prior to them. The fact that he knows like exactly what that space station is, that's brand new, that he knows exactly where to go, he knows how to go to the central air system without really any explanation.
You could take it from him listening and like, because he's been hacking into all of this stuff, which that's
it. Just it could have been done.
There's a few very convenient moments and stuff in this film,
and they don't really have any time pacing wise by that point to have him somehow interrogate somebody or have him at that point you're ready for the movie kind of to wrap up, and then there is that whole other third fight with him and Kirk, and I thought some of the anti-gravity stuff was a clever thing to do to make it visually interesting, but I thought that them taking out the wave, the horde of ships with the music was awesome.
That was cool.
I thought it was a glorious moment, like a truly great summer movie moment
Yeah.
with Beastie Boys.
Like this is ridiculous and stupid, but it's so much fun, and I'm
And
loving
it makes enough sense, right? It makes enough practical sense. I thought it was a great moment. I also
This
loved
is
earlier
classical
on,
music.
like Public Enemy
Yeah.
playing. Like I was like, hell yeah, like let's go. And also, you know, Beastie Boys, they were obviously Star Trek fans. They they rap about Trek in a lot of their songs. That song was used in the first J.J. Abrams one as well, but Sabotage is obviously what's going on there.
Yeah.
So it plays off well. Public Enemy, Fight the Power is very much about kind of the themes that are playing out at the end of that as well. So it is actually a meaningful song to be in a movie in a funny kind of way. I never expected when that first trailer and we all kind of like, really? You're putting this Beastie Boys? Like, I never expected it to actually play a part in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they ever paused at the reception to that and were like, are we doing the right thing? Because people are complaining about this. Little do they know that it's actually part of the movie. But I thought it was great.
Yeah, I think
it
it
was
works. It
fantastic.
works really well. It's
Yeah.
especially when like the entire like colony gets on board with it. It's like, okay, we're gonna amplify this.
It's fantastic. It was a really great moment. So, on first viewing, you think that you still like the original better?
Yeah,
The original.
the
first
2009 one, I think I like better.
I probably do. Over repeat viewings, that could change. Do you have like a favorite Trek movie in general, or would it be that one?
Probably. I have only ever seen bits and pieces of other Trek movies. I don't think I've ever seen any of the other Trek movies from start to finish.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of them that you should probably.
Yeah,
definitely
like
see.
I would love to go.
Obviously, Wrath of Khan. You know, people who aren't Trek fans frequently claim that they love that movie.
Yeah.
And then I love First Contact. I think it's great. But so with this being playing out the way it has, are you definitely interested, gung ho, in seeing that fourth adventure?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm interested.
Yeah, me too. I hope that this doesn't end. I hope that we get, you know, I still, like, every once in a while when I think about it, like, I cringe in almost depression that we only got 4 Next Generation movies. Like, I would hate if we only got 3 movies from this crew.
I'll be curious to see how this does.
Yeah. It looks like it's on pace to do 60 million or something I just read, which would be pretty good because earlier it was getting pegged at like 45. So to perform like that would be fantastic, and hopefully it has some legs. The next couple weekends are going to kind of hurt it, though, with Jason Bourne and Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad will derail.
Suicide Squad, well, I'll be curious to see what Jason Bourne does to
I
this.
really don't know what's going on. I mean, not to, you know...
derail
our Star Trek Beyond review, but like those movies, especially Supremacy and Ultimatum, were incredibly successful films.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to me, as a huge fan of that series, it doesn't feel like that movie's coming out in 5 days or whatever.
No, like, I mean, I've been seeing that trailer for a while now, and I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, like I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see it. I'm not getting I'm not seeing a lot of hype for it though elsewhere, like in like Twitter.
It kind
or
of worries
Facebook.
me that, because I think a lot of that just plays into marketing, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Universal has another Bourne movie with Matt Damon back, coming off of one of his most financially successful films of all time with The Martian, it's weird that they're not promoting it more. It kind of worries me about maybe the movie's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I'm not going to freak out about it or anything. But
Star Trek.
It was great, and it's another movie that I felt like it was getting lost in the summer, and I hope that it's just kind of that boost that people needed, and word of mouth will spread.
Well, I was going to say, I think this will be a word of mouth one, because you have the people coming out this weekend, and you're like, yeah, I'm definitely going to see it no matter what. And then you have the people who did get turned off by those trailers, and they're like, I don't know.
And Into Darkness, quite frankly.
Yeah, and you got turned off by, all that, and everyone now coming out. I don't know what... the response before this on Rotten Tomatoes was pretty positive.
Yeah, last I knew it was at like a 90, 93.
So, positive word of mouth could get everybody else to go, oh yeah, I'll go check it out. That could be fun. And then it's like, oh yeah, Anton Yelchin's kind of last big film, and then...
Yeah, that should play into it. The early, them. I think it was convenient timing coming off of Chris Hemsworth potentially stealing Ghostbusters, announcing he might be in the next one on the heels of it coming out. Like,
and now everybody going
so that can happen.
Yeah.
That type of thing. I don't know. I really hope it does well.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope. For the next one, I'd be totally fine if Justin Lin came back.
Sure.
I'd be fine if JJ came back. I hope that they get somebody of that caliber if it's not going to be those two.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really impressed with Justin Lin because, you know, he made his small independent movie, and then he did 4 Fast and Furious movies, and then he did this. So, like, he's proven that he's not just a one-trick pony with Fast and Furious. This is a deeper movie. This is a different kind of movie.
Yeah, and it does have action in it, but it's not overly... It's not a Fast and Furious in space or anything like that.
Right, not at all. I wouldn't say that. I would say there are more elements in Into Darkness that felt more like Fast and Furious. Like, when, you know, when Cumberbatch and him are flying through space and all of that, like, that felt more ridiculous than almost anything in this movie. So,
yeah, except that beginning.
Maybe the motorcycle. Yeah, the beginning was. It was a potentially funny idea that was derailed by them looking so terrible.
Yeah, but I don't even know if there's I really think you could have. It would have been more effective to open the movie with, him reading the log like you were to open a new episode, and you could put in that description, making peace with whatever this weapon. You could have put like that little bit of exposition in there, and you still see Spock putting the weapon away.
Came up with something, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I get what, because you have to also remember some elements of classic Trek were that slightly ridiculous thing.
True.
One of the most famous episodes of all time is The Trouble with Tribbles. Like, those things were not that different from something like that. So maybe it is trying to harken. They were trying to hit a lot of the beats in Trek's 50th anniversary of the franchise. And for the most part, it was successful. I wanted to ask you, did you find the Ambassador Spock stuff to feel organic in the movie? Or did it feel slick? To me, I wavered on it. I was like, because so much of the movie wasn't hinting at those parallel timelines anymore. It did feel like if you hadn't seen the other two without not having a clue why there would be 2 Spocks, you could have went and seen this one and just been fine. And those kind of pulled people potentially out of it. It did pull me a little bit out of it.
I think it worked fine. And maybe because, we have that connection to Leonard Nimoy that it's like, okay, like, I like that they are, kind of honoring him and they're still honoring the original crew. And even in the movie, I was like, man, we're never going to get that on-screen return of Kirk and Spock again. Like, he all, Kirk.
Chris Pine?
No.
Shatner.
There was all that back and forth of him for the first one, even the second one, like, oh yeah, like, I don't want to return, or maybe they'll and now that won't happen. And the photo in the movie is the closest we'll ever get to.
It was nice seeing the photo of all of them. I think that it was appropriate, again, in the 50th anniversary for that to be there. It was a great reason for Spock to not decide to go with his plan to leave Starfleet and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, he didn't need somebody to explain it to him. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And it was worth 1,000 memories of watching this stuff growing up and all that for, I'm sure, a lot of people. I felt like there was one other thing I want to... quick shout out, Michael Giacchino's score. I love his music from these Star Trek movies. Like, he's just... The theme is just so... Star Trek has always had incredible music, incredible themes, and his is just added to the bunch of the great stuff there. So.
Good job.
Yeah,
I know you're watching this.
I know you watch. So, any last thoughts?
Go see it. It's a lot of fun.
Ton of fun.
I was trying to think when this ended, like, what other summer movies that we've had that I've had a lot of fun at. Civil War.
That's the thing. Civil War, but that was technically April, right? Like, it feels
May.
like it was a really long time.
Yeah,
ago
it does.
To me. Like, I know it's about to hit Blu-ray real soon. That feels like an eternity ago. It doesn't even feel like the same summer. And there's been a couple things that we've liked a bit, but, like, it's been pretty weak. I'm excited for these next 3 weeks. I think that all 3 have great potential. They all had really great potential to astonish me and also depress me more than maybe any other 3 movies this year. Because if Suicide Squad sucks, then I'm just out on the DC universe. Yeah. And if Jason Bourne sucks, I love those 3 Damon movies so much. I would be really depressed if they came back for no reason to make a bad movie.
But we probably will do reviews on both of those. So if you enjoyed this review, you can go check those out in the coming weeks. You can go back and check out some of the other movie reviews we've done recently. I think the last ones we did were Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles. That was fun. That was fun.
Forgettable though, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but I've been thinking about this summer not being good, and I don't even think about the fact that we saw it.
But that also, that feels like forever ago.
It does. It was only a few weeks ago.
But you can check those out, of course, youtube.com/overabeer. What did you guys think of Star Trek Beyond? Have you seen it yet? Are you going to see it? Let us know in the comments below or tweet at either of us. I'm on Twitter at Rich Belson.
I'm at Stonks.
The channel is on Twitter at OABeer_official. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. Instagram is over_a_beer. And like I said before, YouTube at youtube.com/overabeer, where you can check out all kinds of nerdy movie and game discussions, more reviews, beer reviews, things like that. And of course, iTunes and soundcloud.com/overabeer for our weekly Overabeer podcast. But that will wrap things up for this beer review. Over a Beer movie review. It's late. So until next time, drink up.
And beam me up.